Hey, how's it going? It's Adam here with Adam's Coast Chronicles, and I am back at Six Flags Great Adventure. As you can see, the skyline has definitely changed since my last visit, with the addition of the Joker, which is this tall green, purple, and black structure we see in front of us. I'm here, I guess it's technically opening weekend on Sunday. But there was actually soft openings on Thursday and Friday before this, which I don't remember them doing last year. And at this point, they're open during the week for this coming week for spring break and weekend operations. Unfortunately, the Joker is not open yet, but we will definitely go check it out. So when you come in the gate, you walk straight, and you get to the fountain with the Joker coaster behind it, which is where we just checked out. Basically, the park just goes from left to right. There's a couple branches in either direction. If you go right, you get to Nitro, Batman, some of the flat rides. There is a kiddie area over there, Skull Mountain, Dark Knight, and all that stuff. If you go left, there's a couple different branches where you can get to El Toro, Bizarro, Kingda Ka, the Green Lantern, and Superman. I'm gonna go left. I'm gonna do the park from left to right, which is typically what I do. Sometimes I change it up and go right to left. But today I'll go left to right. One of the things I enjoy over here is this carousel building. Looks really nice. As well as this Yum Yum Cafe, which looks really cool. It looks like ice cream, which is pretty cool. Then over here we have the Houdini ride. So from here, if you take a left at the carousel, this is going to take you into one of the major areas where you have Superman and the Green Lantern and a bunch of Midway games and stuff like that. There's not a whole lot back here. You got some teacups and a souvenir shop, but it's basically a dead end if you go that way. So you go here, you have the Sky Coaster Daredevil Dive, which is an upcharge attraction. We got a bunch of boardwalk games, which this Midway is kind of cool because it kind of looks like a traditional boardwalk a little bit. It's pretty cool. So we got all the standard games. You shoot the water at the targets. We have a basketball rebound kind of game. We got blocks. Pop balloons. We got a Nathan's Famous, which is nice. Got a classic hammer game, another basketball kind of game. So basically, once you walk through this path over here, if you go left, you get to all the good stuff over there, Green Lantern, Superman. You can go off to Kingda Ka. If you go right over here, that's how you get to El Toro, El Diablo, Bizarro, and some other good stuff. We're gonna go left. I'm gonna go ahead and go all the way to the back and see what the line on Kingda Ka looks like. One of the cool things at Six Flags Great Adventures, they still have one of these parachute rides. I've never done the one here, but I did the one back at Over Texas when it was still there. So over here you have the slingshot, Superman and Green Lantern, as well as the top spin, which for the most part still operates. It is down from time to time. But if you take a right, when you get over here, take a right next to the top spin, it takes you to the Golden Kingdom area of the park, which is where you walk back to Kingda Ka and Zumanjaro Drop of Doom, which is quite a bit of a walk. Actually got quite a bit of bamboo back here, which is cool. I feel like this part of the park is actually themed a lot better than a lot of this park. Got some shops. We got watering hole where it looks like you can get some snacks and drinks. Safari Discoveries. I think they have some shows back there. Got some restrooms. And there's this kind of play area right here, which I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually using it. I don't know if it ever opens or not. This looks like it's the splash water oasis. I imagine during the summer it'll be open. And right there is the station for Kingda Ka. But you still have to walk a little ways to actually get to it. And there it goes right there. So it is running right now, which is good. Kingda Ka has a tendency to break down a lot throughout the day. Most days I've been here, it is open for at least part of the day, but it usually goes down. I know they have to shut it down when there's too much wind and stuff like that. But my rule with Kingda Ka is if you want to do Kingda Ka, definitely go to it when you see it running, because it may not be running later when you try to get to it later. So I'm going to check and see how the line is. And try to get a ride on Kingda Ka since it's been a while. Kingda Ka is definitely something you absolutely must do if you've never been here before. It's quite the rush, so I definitely recommend it if you've never been here before. But for me, I'm here a lot, so I don't always do it because it does typically get one of the longer lines in the park. It is the tallest roller coaster in the world, coming in about I believe 450 feet. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's pretty tall. It used to be the fastest in the world at the time when it was built. Now there's one faster in Dubai. Here you get a really good view of El Toro, which is cool. And something I wish they would do is connect this area of the park to that area of the park over there by El Toro, because it seems like it would only make sense. And to get from here to there, you have to walk all the way back from where we were around the other side of the fork. So I wish they would connect it. Maybe they will later. So this is definitely a really good sign. This is the line for Kingda Ka, and normally this is full, but today there's nobody here, so that's good. I had pretty good luck coming early season last time, so hopefully that'll pay off for me today as well. Alright, I just got off Kingda Ka. I actually went ahead and did it twice, because literally, like, both times I only had to wait one cycle, which I've never seen. I've never seen the line that short before for that ride, so I went ahead and did it twice. Actually, I may actually go ahead and do the drop tower, since it's probably a good sign that there's not a whole lot of people. But yeah, Kingda Ka, you know, it's basically you launch 0 to 128 miles per hour in 3.5 seconds, making it now the second fastest roller coaster in the world and the tallest. Definitely an incredible rush. So yeah, pretty good. It definitely is pretty rattly now, but still definitely a great experience. So walking back to Zumanjaro Drop of Doom, which the entrance is right there. Basically, you have to go all the way back, like as far back as you could possibly go in the park. You get a really good view of El Toro, which is cool. But like I said before, these areas of the park aren't connected for whatever reason. I wish they were. I think it's funny how there's still just this one little piece left over from Rolling Thunder, which is the wooden coaster that you see back here. See the awesome drop of El Toro. I feel like there's plenty of room back here, like, for them to build something. I mean, there used to be a roller coaster back here, so I don't see why they couldn't build another one. Maybe 2018. We'll see. This is actually a park that I think has plenty of spots where they could build stuff. Like back here. It'd be interesting to see, though, if they do build something back here, where they would plop the station down. I guess probably over there, back by where El Toro is. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like the next roller coaster coming over here in the future. So at this point, I'm almost to Zumanjaro. Here's Kingda Ka right here, just to give you an idea of how far back we are. And we're also on the other side of El Toro. So it's quite the trek just to get back here for this one ride, which I'm still not even there yet. I have to walk all the way through there. So it's definitely an investment of time to do it. Something I noticed while I was back here, it looks like there's actually a piece of track out there, which is probably from Great American Scream Machine by the looks of it. So, I don't know. I think it's funny how they have that one random piece of track. Maybe there's more. I don't know. Alright, I just got off of Zumanjaro Drop of Doom, which I'm pretty sure is the tallest drop tower in the world, because it's built into the side of the tallest roller coaster in the world. And yeah, it's definitely a really good drop tower, just because you think you're done falling, but you're really not. It's definitely like the longest. You could definitely feel that extra second or two of free fall, which is pretty cool. So definitely one of my favorite drop tower rides. Just because you're dropping for so long. There were literally only 10 people in line. 10 people. I mean, there were people just sitting on two sides of it, just re-riding because there was nobody in line. Which I've only ever done this once, just because it takes so long to get back here. And it took me over an hour to do it last time. So it's pretty crazy to see it with only 10 people online. I also noticed this crane walking back here. I don't know what it's here for, because it doesn't look like there's much going on over here. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna finally get rid of this track. I don't really know. Alright, so after a long walk, I finally made it back over here to this area of the park. Superman and Green Lantern are over there. I'm gonna go ahead and skip them for now. I've done them before. Green Lantern's a stand-up coaster. It's a pretty good one overall. And Superman is a flying coaster, which is definitely pretty good. We have a slingshot, which is an upcharge attraction. Behind it, we have what I'm pretty sure is an old action theater, which just with my speculation, I feel like could maybe possibly eventually turn into a Justice League Dark Ride as they make their rounds, since that's the one in over Texas, they actually put in their old action theater. So I could see that maybe happening in the future. So coming from that way, that takes you to the front of the park. So coming from the front of the park, you can come this way and walk back where I just was. Or you can go over here, take a right by the Ritas. And this is how you get back to the area of the park with El Toro and Bizarro and Adventure Express and the Sky Ride and all that kind of good stuff. So after you pass by all these shops and everything, you have a Bugs Bunny kids area over there. Then you have, oddly enough, the Golden Kingdom again, which is the area by Kingda Ka. So I don't know why they don't connect the two areas, especially considering they're both named the same thing. It seems like it would only make sense to do that. In my opinion, they should build a ride where Rolling Thunder was and use that as a way to connect it with maybe where the station is, have a path that goes across. It would at least help a little bit, so you don't have to walk through that other section. So from here, you take a left, you go to El Toro, which I'll head to in a second. If you take a right, it takes you to this, what I'm pretty sure is kind of an older area of the park, Frontier Adventures. And here you have this Sky Ride station, which actually looks pretty cool. As well as log flumes back here. The other entrance to Bugs Bunny National Park. And the Adventure Express mine train, which is actually a pretty good little mine train. I'm going to go ahead and skip it. You also get a nice view of El Toro from over here, as well as kind of this lake area. There's a bigger lake over there. But yeah, this is a nice little area over here, this Frontier Adventures area. So it looks like there's still no water in the log flume, which is understandable because it is like 50 degrees outside. So I guess that's something that opens up in the summer, which I guess makes sense. It's kind of cool how we have those cannons coming out of the Skyride station building. And the mine train kind of goes all around it, which is pretty cool. So, you know, in terms of like the theming and everything, this area of the park's actually you know, not bad. I do apologize, I did misspeak. The mine train is actually just called Runaway Mine Train, and that's how you get to it. So it's kind of underneath this big building. I'm gonna skip it today, but it's a fun little mine train. Definitely a good like family ride and ride for younger kids. It's actually got a couple like pops of airtime on it. To go on the safari, you can go over there. Which the safari is actually a unique thing to this park. There is like a full, I want to say it's like 30 minutes or so safari, where basically you sit in the truck and go through the safari, which I've never actually done, and one of these days I will take the time to do. I mean, looks like there's a little bit of a line for it. One of these days I will take the time to do it, since it is kind of a signature thing here. But yeah, it's something that's good to know that it's here. If you like animals, they do have a full safari, and it is included with your admission to the park. So basically once you're in the park, you can get on the ride from here. So kind of coming through the area we were just in takes you back over here to Bizarro, which I actually went, there's a couple of different ways to get here. I'll go the other way after I ride. But basically you can go that way, there's a bridge over there, or you can come around this way and go across the same bridge, and that takes you over to El Toro. Something that's really cool about Bizarro is how you walk through the Cobra Roll to get to this area over here where the station is, which is kind of nice. And you got this nice, pretty big Bizarro cutout, as the extent of the Six Flags theming is. It is cool for a change in a Six Flags park to be able to actually kind of walk sort of with the coaster surrounding you. That's one thing I like about this ride, is just how it's staged in this area where it's basically surrounding you and you have to walk underneath it to get to it. And the station's kind of in the middle of the layout, so the ride goes all around it. Here you have some lockers, which they don't make you get, but they're here for you if you want them. I think they might make you use them if you have a big bag, but I'm not really sure. Something else that's cool is they still have a Medusa sign. It says Medusa Mining Company with a, I guess that's a horse on the side of the building. Which is basically paying homage to the ride's old name. It used to be called Medusa, and I'm pretty sure it was the first floorless coaster. Now it's called Bizarro, which is, you know, like the Superman kind of theme. Alright, I just got off Bizarro, and went ahead and did it twice, because once again, it was basically just a walk-on. I walked into the station, got on the next train. The first time I rode it in the back, second time I rode it in row 2 because the front row had a line, but row 2 didn't, and I definitely like it better in the front row. It's a pretty good ride overall. It's my, I think I have it second on my list of floorless coasters, which I've been on at this point quite a few floorless coasters, and this one's definitely one of the better ones. It's got nice elements, it's pretty smooth. Really the only place that I bang my head is right there, on that side of the Cobra Roll, and I almost bang it right there, but it's really not that bad. Like, I don't really hit it that hard. So it's pretty smooth. Like I said, I like the front row better. The back's still good, but the front's definitely better just because it throws you into the dive loop and the 0G a lot faster, which I like. Whereas the back, you get the 0G part sort of towards the end of it. I think the front overall is better for those elements in particular. You also get like a couple, probably a little bit better pops of airtime in the front. But all in all, good coaster, regardless of if you're in the front seat or the back seat. Typically it doesn't have much of a wait, probably just because of where it is. But it was nice to be able to walk onto it. From Bizarro, which is that way, you can cross this bridge right here, and it's kind of a little bit of a shortcut to get to El Toro. There's nothing else really over here at all. Basically, it's just literally just a shortcut, and that's really all it's good for. Which is kind of one of the issues I have with this park, is I feel like everything is pretty spread out overall, and the layout doesn't make any sense. So you have parts of the park that are like this, where there's literally nothing but a path that connects two parts of the park, and then in other parts of the park you don't have any paths to connect, basically like the Kingda Ka area to this area. So that is one small complaint that I have about the park, is that the layout just doesn't really make any sense. And you have to walk far to get to the rides without really having anything to do along the way. So right here, I'm underneath El Toro. When you come down this area of the park and you stay to the left of the fork, which is where I was earlier, it takes you to this area. And if you wanted to go to Bizarro, you can go right there to the right of the El Toro entrance to get to Bizarro. Over here, we also have El Diablo, which is the Larson Looper, falsely advertised as a roller coaster. As you can see on the sign there, it says Loop Coaster. But something that is really cool is this guy. It's a pretty cool statue there. And at least, you know, it's got a little bit of theming. It's got flames on it, which is cool. But it is what it is. I'm gonna go ride El Toro. I just got off El Toro. Went ahead and rode it twice. It's pretty much a station wait, only one cycle each time, which is great, because if you've ever been to this park, you would know that El Toro usually gets, you know, lines up to about an hour and a half on like a Saturday during the summer. So it's nice to be able to literally just, you know, walk on the ride. As always with El Toro, the back seat is by far the best. Definitely way better than the front, much better airtime, and arguably, you know, one of the best drops on any coaster, certainly on any wooden coaster. You know, for a wooden coaster, it's super smooth, but in the last year or so, it's definitely developed a couple little rough spots on it, and but still not too bad. Something else to note this year on El Toro, they've had these really super tacky wraps on the trains advertising for Kia. So they basically made the trains look like Kia Souls, which, you know, they actually have kind of decently themed trains, so it was sad when they put that on there. But I am happy to say this year, at least one of the trains no longer has those wraps. The other one does still, but better than nothing. Another thing to note on El Toro is, regardless of what the line is like, it definitely takes them forever from an operation standpoint to dispatch trains, which is actually not entirely their fault. This is by far one of the least fat-friendly rides I've ever seen. Pretty much every time I go on El Toro, almost every cycle, if not every other cycle, after they load, somebody has to get off, because it doesn't let them send the trains unless all the restraints are down to its liking, which by far is the ride I get stabled into the most. And almost every time somebody doesn't quite fit, has to make the walk of shame, which really slows down the operations, because they do try really hard to get everybody on the ride. They try really hard to push down the restraints, because they know everybody wants to ride. And what happens is they check the whole train. There's always one or two cars left that they have to check, and then they have to push down for those people. And then if somebody doesn't fit, they have to unlock that car, let the person out, wait for them to get beyond the exit turnstile, and then they can recheck that car. So it takes a long time between trains, and there's only 2 trains, so it definitely does hurt the capacity. But all in all, in my opinion, it's the reason to come to this park. By far the best ride in the park. Definitely one of the best wooden roller coasters in the world, arguably. One of my favorite wooden coasters. So it's definitely a ride. Definitely got to do it when you come here. I recommend doing it at the end of the day, if it's a busy day. Because towards the end of the day, like the last hour of the day or so, the line usually gets much shorter. If it's about an hour and a half during the day, it usually gets down to about 20 minutes at the end of the day. And at this park, at the end of the day, if you get on El Toro right at the end, you can get in line until the park closes. If you get on right at the end and you come back and there's still some people in the station but there's nobody in your row, they will actually let you sit on the train and cycle again. So that's another quick tip. I like riding in the back, as I said before, but usually what I will do in those cases, because a lot of people do realize that the back is much better on El Toro than the front. Obviously, you're always going to have a lot of people waiting in line for the front of any roller coaster. But if you want to try this tip out, I would recommend not going to the very back seat, but going one or two from the back, so that you're still in the back car. Because if you do that, you will have a much better chance of nobody being in your line when you get back, and you get to get a free cycle. At this point, I'm getting back towards the front of the park, and I'm going to go on to some other things. So as you can see here, the construction's coming along nicely. Looks like all the tracks there, all the track and supports are all installed. At this point, it's opening weekend. I didn't see anything on the website about when it's supposed to open, but knowing Six Flags, they typically like to open things around Memorial Day weekend. So pretty soon, I think we'll probably have trains and cycling and everything like that. I mean, it looks like the ride's pretty much done. Looks like there's still a lot of work to be done in this area. We still have dirt over there and, putting the queue in place and everything like that. But it's looking pretty good. It's an SNS 4D free fly coaster. It's one of only 2 in the world so far. I imagine Six Flags will be putting more of these in. I got a chance to do the one at Fiesta, Texas, and it's definitely a really unique ride. I enjoyed it for the most part, but it wasn't necessarily my favorite thing to do. It's almost more like a zipper than anything else. The seats spin vertically around, so basically you can flip upside down, and they're actually free spinning. They're not controlled by the track, so every ride you get will be a little bit different. It's definitely a different experience. It's probably not an experience that you necessarily look for getting on a coaster, but still worth giving it a try. I'm looking forward to getting on this one, seeing if it's any different from the other one. I mean, it's the same ride, but who knows, it might be a little bit different. The Joker track work is actually not 100% complete. The piece that connects this last little drop over here to the station is actually not in yet. So there's actually one small piece left. I wish I could get you a better view of that. Along with the Joker, they actually are retheming this family coaster over here after Harley Quinn. So they've actually painted it. So now it's actually red and black. It's going to be themed to Harley Quinn. I forget off the top of my head what exactly the name of it is. But I know it's going to be themed to Harley Quinn. It used to be Blackbeard's Lost Treasure Train. So one more look over here. I don't know if you can see it back there, but there is a piece of track missing still. So one piece left before they can actually start running trains. I'll definitely have an update when it opens up and I get a chance to check it out. I just got off the SkyScreamer, I think it's called here, which is the Starflyer, which is the giant swing ride basically. Which actually, this is the first time I've ever done this one. I've only ever done one of them, and it was at Fiesta, Texas. They're definitely a lot more terrifying than the wind seekers that you find in the Cedar Fair parks, mainly just because they have chains, like a regular swing ride. So it's a little bit unsettling to be that high up with that. Also, one more thing about the wind seeker. It's cold today, and it definitely got colder. I don't recommend doing it in the cold, because it was definitely super cold, and it's pretty windy. So the combination of those things made it a little bit uncomfortable. Still a pretty cool ride, and still definitely like I said, somewhat terrifying if you're afraid of heights, especially being only, you know, restrained by a small chain, as opposed to the Windseekers, where you basically have a giant metal rod. Over here, there's actually a couple. This is actually kind of a section of the park that tends to never have any people. It tends to be pretty dead, and I think that will probably change once the Joker opens. But there's actually a couple flat rides over here. We've got this, I think they're called roundups. I think that's what they're called. These spinny rides that goes vertical, and basically the centrifugal force presses you against the wall. We also have a classic swinging ship ride. Two rides that you may not notice are actually here, unless you come all the way back here. As well as the Blackbeard's Lost Treasure Train, which is now going to be themed to Harley Quinn. There's also a Ferris wheel. This is the second time I've seen it not running. It wasn't running last time I was here. So I don't know if it's just because it's cold or what the deal is. But pretty much everything else has been running today. We have a sky ride station over here. We got Skull Mountain in the background. Also, another thing from the Windseeker, I saw the area where the chiller used to be, and they actually still have some of the queue line intact. And it looked like they had, I mean, basically it's just all dirt. There's also a big pile of dirt. It looks like they had some kind of dirt moving vehicles back there. I don't know. I think it's definitely a space where they could easily put a ride. Probably like a small compact coaster, but probably not a huge coaster, but definitely a small compact coaster. Personally, this is all speculation on my part. Personally, I think that would be a good spot for them to put one of the new RMC T-Rex rides. Either the T-Rex track or the Raptor track. Because they could do a really small compact steel coaster there and it would fit. And it would make sense, seeing as we don't need to Iron Horse El Toro because it's already great and smooth as it is. There's no other wooden coaster in the park. So I feel like it would make sense for them to put one of the new T-Rex models in this park as opposed to other parks that could still use an Iron Horse. So that's just my speculation and my thought. I doubt that will happen for a while. Maybe like 2018. I doubt we're going to see much of anything next year. But I don't know. That's my speculation. Here we have the Granny's chicken place, which serves the same chicken as they do everywhere else. If you like arcades, there's one there. Here we get to Movie Town, which is where Batman the Ride and the Dark Knight are located, as well as some other places to eat and shops, and the old chiller station, which is no longer, the ride is obviously no longer there. I just got off Batman the Ride, which is like every other Batman the Ride, pretty much. Same ride. It's pretty good as always. I sat in the back seat. Super intense. It was a walk-on. Although typically, for whatever reason, at this park, this ride doesn't ever tend to have a very long line. I don't think I've ever waited more than like 15 or 20 minutes for this ride at this park. So for whatever reason, our Batman doesn't get a very long line. This building over here is for the Dark Knight coaster, which is an indoor wild mouse with actually some pretty decent theming for Six Flags Park. There's a grill over here, and there's a little bar over here, and then there's this huge space back here where, as you can see, there's nobody there really because there's nothing back there. That used to be where you would go to get on the chiller, but for years basically there's been nothing there. So I don't know, I think it's funny how this park has so many areas that are just kind of like dead space where there's nothing for you to do. And especially with how busy this park can get, I mean, I guess in one sense it's nice because they have plenty of room to expand, but the fact that all of these empty spaces came about because they took out rides and never replaced them, to me is a little bit of a sad thing. Hopefully they will use these spaces for bigger and better things in the future. That's all we could hope. So Movie Town, which is where we are now, is basically a dead end. Where really you only have these 2 rides because there's no longer a ride back there. To get to Nitro and Skull Mountain, Nitro you can actually get to this way. So you don't actually have to go around. You can go around that restaurant and that will take you to Skull Mountain. You can kind of bypass the kiddie area. But basically if you go through the sign that says Movie Town, stay to the right, gets you to Batman. Get to the left of the fork and it will take you to Nitro. You can also go around, take a left at the restaurant we were by earlier to get over here as well. Over here we also have Safari Kids, which is one of the kids areas with some more things for the kids to do. And if you go left there, that gets you to Skull Mountain. Coming from over there where Nitro is, you get to Skull Mountain, or you can come by this pink chicken restaurant over here. You got some bumper cars and a sky ride station, and there's actually a Panda Express over there. But I wanted to come over here because I noticed that the waterfalls are on. Supposedly, I mean, they definitely weren't on last year, and supposedly they haven't been on for a long time. So it's nice to see them back on. I'm gonna probably skip Skull Mountain for today, but it's a nice little indoor family coaster. It's pretty good. It's definitely worth it if you don't have to wait for it, but I personally wouldn't wait very long for it. So back by the arcade, you take a left, walk all the way down. If you take a left there, you get Skull Mountain. Straight ahead is Safari Kids, and then to the right is Nitro, which is where I'm heading now. Just to show you what it's been like today. It looks like we're getting more walk-ons. Those are the stairs up to the station, and there's nobody waiting on them, so that's good. I just got off of Nitro, which was a walk-on. As a matter of fact, it was such a walk-on that I rode it twice, and then third time I basically just moved from one row to the next because there's nobody in there, and they didn't have any problems with that. It was alright. Unfortunately, I think it's seen better days. It's gotten really super rattly, especially at the bottom of the first drop, and in a couple other spots. If you ride in the back, you get decent airtime, mainly just coming over the backside of the hills, but it's not super prolonged or super intense for that matter, but still a good ride. Still alright. Alright, from Movie Town, heading back towards the front of the park, which is basically just the way I came. Over here, there's actually I noticed this laser maze, which might actually be new. I don't remember them having that last year. I don't know if it's an upcharge or not. I imagine that it is. But they have that. We got Italian food here. We have Ferris wheel here. Today has been by far the easiest day I've ever had here in terms of lines. I mean, every single ride's been a walk-on. I've done everything multiple times. I still have like an hour left. For once, I'm happy to say that I've actually been impressed with the operations here, and it, you know, mainly just because they have multiple trains on every single ride, and it's dead. So I'm glad to know that they put multiple trains on all the rides today, and they actually left multiple trains on all the rides. They didn't take any trains off or anything like that, which is actually pretty impressive to me. So basically from here, we're back at the front of the park. Johnny Rockets got the Joker in the background. Photo center. which actually this year, I don't know if this is the first year they've done it or not, but it might be. This year you can actually purchase daily or seasonal photo passes. Looks like it's $30 for the day or $35 for the season. That allow you to get basically all of your on-ride photos and everything digitally, which is actually a pretty good deal. I mean, I know most people, like, I've never actually taken the time to buy an on-ride photo, but if I was going to come here a lot with like a bunch of friends and everything, and I was the kind of person who liked on-ride photos, then I would actually consider getting that, because that's actually a pretty good deal considering how much on-ride photos normally are. So at this point, I've done pretty much everything I want to do. So I'm going to take some time and get a few more rides in before the end of the day. I just got off Houdini's Great Escape, which is actually the first time I've done it, despite how many times I've been at this park. There wasn't really a line for it, so I figured it, today would be a good day to try it out. It's actually pretty cool. It's like a, it's hard to describe what it is, but there's like a little pre-show room, and then you go into this other room, and you have these seats and a lap bar, and basically it's this sort of disorienting illusion that you're spinning upside down and everything. And part of it is the actual thing that you're sitting, the vehicle that you're sitting in is actually moving. But the room is also spinning, so it's actually pretty cool. It's hard to tell what exactly is happening, but it definitely makes you feel weird, which is pretty cool. It's got actually pretty good theming in there. I was impressed by the theming itself. The voiceovers and everything were a little bit cheesy, but other than that, not bad for like a Six Flags dark attraction. I wouldn't wait a super long time for it, but if the line's short, it's pretty cool to check out. Nothing says Six Flags like attitudes, where you can get "She's My Boo" and "He's My Boo" shirts. Got a lot of really classy merchandise in there. Got bad boy shirts, along with "I Love My Bad Boy" shirts. So teenage couples can walk through the park wearing matching shirts that have nothing to do with Six Flags, but they bought at Six Flags. Which is actually funny, because last time I was at a Six Flags park, down in Six Flags Over Georgia, I actually saw a couple wearing "I, he's mine" and "I, she's mine" shirts. So apparently people actually buy them and wear them. And it's across from, of course, the flag store, which has like the actual Six Flags merchandise. Over here by El Toro, you have Mancho Nacho Burritos, and which I think this whole thing was new last year. I remember when it was being under construction. But what's nice is they have La Cantina over here, which at the moment isn't open. But last time I was here, I went there, and they actually have a pretty decent selection of beer. And you can also get margaritas there, which is nice. So if you want a good spot to get margaritas and some Mexican food, it's a nice little spot over here by El Toro. El Diablo actually has a nice lighting package on it. So at the very least, it's nice to look at. So this is basically what it looks like at the end of the night at El Toro.
Train's locked and checked.
There's actually about 45 minutes left. There's no one here. Most people on this train were on the last train. So they basically just let you sit on the ride. This is why you should come to El Toro at the end of the day. Alright, and that does it for me here at Six Flags Great Adventure. It's a pretty great day. In 6 hours I managed to do pretty much all the major coasters, with the exception of the couple that I skipped multiple times. Got a nice little mini marathon on El Toro at the end of the day. All in all, if you're looking for a really great time to come to this park when it's not super busy, I definitely recommend coming in March on a Sunday. Definitely worked out very well for me. If you like this video, be sure to click the like button below and subscribe for more theme park and tour and reviews. Until next time, I will see you later.